Be in it more than any man should be.
Despite his less than endearing endearment, ball and chain, Kennedy had seen Clarence and Joan together. She knew they fit. They worked. Clarence might get in trouble for running over frogs, but the Hardings were one of those couples that no one could imagine not being together. She liked to think her small flower shop helped to keep them that way, together. "One of the vendors I order from had these, and I thought of you when I ordered it." Kennedy reached under the counter and pulled out a small box and slid it across the counter toward the elderly gentleman. Clarence opened the lid and pulled out a frog planter.
Now this is just the ticket. The perfect thing to get me out of trouble. You'll stick some plant or something in it for her?
"Definitely," Kennedy assured him. Clarence was the kind of customer she liked to think of as job security. "Do you have anything in mind?" He handed her the planter.
"Whatever you want, Mayor. Bill me, okay?"
"Sure thing, Clarence. I'll deliver it this afternoon."
"Maybe I'll be out of the frog house before dinner then. See you later, Mayor."
The bell rang merrily as he left. That was easy. Maybe she'd be lucky and the rest of the day would go that smoothly. Kennedy really needed an easy day. She was in the back workroom transplanting a spider plant into the frog planter when the bell out front rang again. "Coming," she called as she pulled off her gloves. Kennedy didn't groan when she saw May Williams scowling in her direction. She knew without a doubt that this wasn't about flowers. May visited even more frequently than Clarence, but to the best of Kennedy's knowledge, May had never ordered anything. No, flowers weren't May's reason for visiting. She was here to complain about something. May came in at least once a week to complain about something. There was an actual mayor's office at the town hall, the small brick building farther down Main Street, Cupid Falls Small Business District. Town hall also housed the one-man police department, the one-man streets crew, and the volunteer fire department. It also had a big meeting room where town council met on a monthly basis, but Kennedy did 90% of the town's business from right here in the shop. Being mayor of a small town had some advantages, and working from the flower shop was one of them. She forced her best business smile. "Good morning, May. How are you today?"
"I'm lucky to be alive, Kennedy, and that's the God's honest truth of it. Jay Peterson hasn't shoveled since yesterday's snow, and his sidewalk is a hazard. I'm 71 years old, and when I walk in Cupid Falls, I don't think it's too much to expect a clear sidewalk."
Kennedy didn't think it was wise to point out that Jay Peterson was well past 80 himself. "You're right, May, it's not. I'll give Jay a shout. I know he has someone who normally shovels for him. I'll see if he can call them over now."
"I'm heading down to the drugstore, and I'll expect it cleared before I walk home. Good day, Kennedy."
And with that, May flounced out of the store. Kennedy called down to Jay's, but no one answered his phone. She knew she could call the town's street crew, which was a fancy name for Lamar. He took care of everything from patching roadways to plowing the streets in the winter. She didn't call, though, because he was probably still out removing the last of the snow from Cupid Falls' residential streets. Jay's house was 1 block over, so Kennedy, who'd campaigned with the slogan, "The buck stops here," put on her own oversized parka and gloves, flipped the sign on the front door to "back in a minute," and took her shovel down the street. 5 minutes later, Jay's sidewalk was clear. She was unlocking the front door of the store when she heard a car pull up behind her at the curb. She turned, ready to call out a greeting to whomever it was. Cupid Falls was small enough that she knew everyone, except the occasional out-of-towner. The smile on her face evaporated as Malcolm Carter IV got out of his black Pilot.
"Hi, Kennedy,"
he called, as if he'd seen her only last week.
"Pap said you wanted to see me as soon as I got in town."
"Wanted? That is not quite how I'd put it," she clarified. "Needed to see you as closer." She opened the door to the flower shop and said, "You might as well come in." Kennedy had known this particular conversation was inevitable, but that didn't mean she was looking forward to it. As Malcolm came in, he seemed to fill the doorway. He was a big man, almost 6 feet tall, but it wasn't his height that made him stand out. He was simply dark-haired, chiseled bone structure, designer suit wearing perfection. Well, not perfection. No, she wouldn't allow herself to think of Malcolm as